Good Wednesday morning. And sorry, I'm a little bit late this morning. Uh, I did have time to walk over and get my coffee. It's a beautiful day in Sacramento, and I hope the weather is giving you a break wherever you are. We are smack dab in the middle of the prelude to the climax of the Thelemic Magic High Holy Days of April 8th, 9th, and 10th, uh, which means a lot of stuff is going on sort of magically, the magical season. Also, April 8th is the deadline that I have to get my manuscript to the publisher. And so I'm a little, uh, I'm wound a little tight. Okay, I always am. I always need a deadline. Otherwise, nothing will ever get finished. And you never actually finish a book. You just pick a time to abandon it. And the time I've picked to abandon this one is April 8th. Anyway, so much was going on back on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd as far as the show goes here, with the Supreme Invocation of Horus and the story of Crowley and Rose in Cairo in 1904. That I didn't mention a sad anniversary on the 22nd of March of the passing of my dear brother, Marc DuQuette. It was he'd been ill for quite some time in Texas, with waiting for a liver transplant kind of thing. It's very sad. Marc was 6 years older than I, and we were very close growing up, and we were very close being grown-ups. Okay. I write about Marc a lot in My Life with the Spirits. It was Marc and I, the sons of the desert, that open up the opening act of My Life with the Spirits. And he appears prominently in quite a few of my works. So it was 9 years ago on the 22nd that we lost Marc. So I'm going to share with you probably something that I should have shared back on the 22nd. Marc lived for many, many years, right up to the last few years in Laguna Beach, California. And I would like to read, if you don't mind. It tells a bit more about Marc from an objective point of view. His obituary from the newspaper in Laguna Beach, and the article was published April 30th, 2015. Marc Ernest DuQuette. That's my dad's middle name, too. Clifford Ernest DuQuette. Marc Ernest DuQuette was born on July 23rd, 1942, in Long Beach, California. DuQuette served in the U.S. Army Infantry, Army Reserve, and the Nebraska National Guard, receiving an honorable discharge in December 1967. During the 60s and 70s, DuQuette lived in Costa Mesa and other areas of Orange County. It was during this time frame that DuQuette became immersed in the counterculture movement. And that might have had something to do with his younger brother coming out from Nebraska, full-blown anti-Vietnam SDS Student Peace Union. Anyway, it might have had something to do with that, actually. Yeah. It was during this time frame DuQuette became immersed in the counterculture movement. That was sweeping the nation. He became a member of many radical social justice groups, including Vietnam Veterans Against the War, the Cuban-based Venceremos Brigade, and the Maoist October League Communist Party Marxist-Leninist group. For most, he never did anything halfway. Okay. For most of 1968, DuQuette lived in the woods of Southern Oregon as one of the leaders of an idealist hippie commune he founded and his very eclectic circle of friends. Trying to relate to a world that they felt was failing them a new way. DuQuette wrote about this incredible time of rebirth and disillusionment in his memoir, Orange Sunshine, How I Almost Survived America's Cultural Revolution, sharing his personal vision of the 60s and the downward spiral of his addictions and his intense run-ins with police as his life spun completely out of control. On December 19th, 1981, DuQuette became sober and inwardly turned his life over to helping others with their addictions. In 1983, he became certified as a recovery counselor, working with alcoholics, addicts, and codependents. DuQuette's spiritual journey had begun in earnest. He continued his noble work all the way to the end of his earthly journey, leaving us on March 22nd, 2015. DuQuette's many worldwide clients over the 25 years feel his loss keenly. His warmth, compassion, humor, and profound non-judgmental listening have left a great void. In addition to DuQuette's recovery counseling, he also worked quietly for decades with HIV/AIDS population, lecturing on high-risk behavior to counselors and therapists. In 1985, DuQuette married his soulmate, Kathleen, in Long Beach, where they lived for almost 27 years until relocating to the beautiful hill country near Austin, Texas. DuQuette is survived by Kathleen and his younger brother, Lon Milo DuQuette of Costa Mesa, California. That's how the Laguna Beach newspaper covered his death in the obituaries. They failed to mention his decades-long involvement and participation in the Sant Mat spiritual movement of Swami Charan, Swami Saran, Charan Singh. And he went to India multiple times to study and stay at the ashram. So, as I say in the introduction to My Life with the Spirits, when Mark and I dropped all that acid in the desert and swore we would never come back from the desert until we were holy men, I pretty much think Mark made it. Okay. I include like a one-page excerpt from his book, Orange Sunshine, How I Almost Survived the Cultural Revolution. In my book, Low Magic, it's because I talk about Mark, so much that he had a little chapter called Once Upon a Time. So here's what I wrote. My brother remembers our father. My life has always been, this is me talking here. My life has always been filled with magical events, and personalities. In chapter 4, I told how my father had an oddly mystical influence on my brother Marc and myself. In chapter 13, I mentioned my brother's psychic and healing abilities. For the reader who would like a little more insight on both these subjects, I offer this brief appendix. It's a chapter from my brother Marc's autobiography. It's a little story. This little story took place when I was 2 years old and provides, I believe, a poignant window into the character of these two precious magical beings in my life. Once Upon a Time, excerpt from Orange Sunshine, How I Almost Survived the America's Cultural Revolution. This is Marc's. Dad was not a religious man. Mom accused him of being an atheist. She once whipped me in a conspiratorial tone of voice that Darwin's Origin of Species was his Bible. Naturally, I wanted to be an atheist and read Charles Darwin. I wanted to be just like my dad. Thus, I was very surprised by what he asked me to do. I had just gotten home from school and was in the kitchen looking for a snack. Dad was on his way to work. He paused on his way out the door and squatted down eye level to me. He smelled of cigarettes and appeared to be somber. Very somber. Quote, "Son, the little boy who lives in back of us is real sick. His mom accidentally slammed his hand in the car door. The doctors fixed his hand, but he hurt it again. He was playing in his yard and got dirty and dog poop under the bandages. The wound got infected and he's back in the hospital. The doctors don't think he'll live. He's got lockjaw." That's what they call tetanus. "Would you please pray for him? God listens to you." I can't tell you how seemingly uncharacteristic that was for my dad to say something like that. Highly unusual. Dad stood up, grabbed his black metal lunchbox, I remember that, and without another word went off to his job in the oil fields. I was 8 years old and had no idea why my dad thought God listens to me. I didn't know what tetanus was. I visualized a little boy lying in a hospital bed with a huge lock around his jaw. I silently prayed, "God, if it be your will, please let the little neighbor boy live. Amen." I didn't know the kid. I thought my prayer was very half-assed and insincere. Several days later, I overheard Mom and another neighbor talking about the little boy. They said he was making a full recovery and would be home soon. Dad never again spoke of his prayer request, so I haven't mentioned it until now. On March 22nd, as my brother was in the operating room, actually, he died on the operating table in faraway Texas. Sort of to get my mind off of things, I was attending a local Costa Mesa group of singer-songwriters that met once a month at another musician's home, and we sat in a circle and we shared our original music together and jammed. And when it was my turn, I started to sing my song, True Buckaroos, which was a song written about me and my brother and our friends at the Buccaneer Bar in Costa Mesa, California, who were a Cheers assortment of talented and magical people. People who would later in our lives, well, Joe Wilson and David Wilson became part of the Charlie D and Milo band. Dave Dina and Jerry Beckman and people that would remain our friends and our supporters and our counselors for years and years. And we called them True Buckaroos. True Buckaroos. And I started the first verse, and the phone rang in the kitchen, the place that we were at, and the host quietly got up while I was singing the song, and then almost immediately called me to the phone. I stopped this song in mid verse to answer the phone to learn that that Marc had passed on the operating table. And because you don't know what to do, what to say or what to feel, I went back to the guitar circle and I finished the song. And then I told them what happened, and then I went home. I posted a recording of the song. There's a YouTube video and things like that about it. But here's the verse. Well, here's the song. It's real short. I ride with true buckaroos. No better pals could I cruise with. From life to life, like a family we choose. True buckaroos incarnate together. Like cosmic gypsies we roam. The Dharma highway is our home. Sometimes we're outlaws and sometimes we're saints. Sometimes we're heroes and sometimes we ain't. I ride the range with true buckaroos. Life is strange with true buckaroos, but I love you. Love all my true buckaroos. Through thick and thin, closer than kin, we live and die but seldom judge each other. Like cosmic gypsies we roam, the Dharma highway is our home. Sometimes we're outlaws, sometimes we're saints, sometimes we're heroes, and sometimes we ain't. Through thick and thin, we're true buckaroos. Closer than kin, we are true buckaroos. We screw up bad, but seldom judge each other. Into the sunset we ride, two buckaroos side by side. Day soon will pass, and this moment won't last. So before these sweet memories we lose, thank you, my true buckaroos. And that's it for today. Tomorrow, I'll hopefully see you tomorrow as we come up upon my book deadline and the 3 days of the writing of the book of the law. Until then, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other, savor the sweet moments with your true buckaroos. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.